Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi has arrived in Oman to a grand welcome in the capital, Muscat. He got a ceremonial reception received by Oman's Deputy Prime Minister for the Council of Ministers, Syed Fahd bin Mahmood Al Sayed. Prime Minister Modi will shortly address a record crowd of non-resident Indians at the Sultan Qaboos Sports Complex. This is the largest stadium in the country and can accommodate up to 30,000 people. Ahead of Mr. Modi's address, locals were seen lining up to get their tickets to the event, while performers have been rehearsing inside the stadium. And just like the UAE, ads featuring Prime Minister Modi were also spotted in local newspapers in Oman. 20% of Oman's population comprises people of Indian origin. And remember, Oman holds strategic importance for India. Ahead of Prime Minister Modi's visit, the Ministry of External Affairs described Oman as India's next-door neighbour. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has already arrived in Muscat. This is the final stop on his three-nation West Asia tour. It all began in Palestine yesterday, from where he headed to the United Arab Emirates, first to Abu Dhabi and to Dubai just this morning. He's now arrived in the Omani capital of Muscat. India and Oman share a decades-old relationship. It's a strong partnership that has existed. Oman, interestingly, is also one of the most peaceful countries in the region, untouched by any war at this point in time. And on the broadcast with me right now is my colleague WION's Nishchita Virendra, joining us live from Muscat itself. Nishchita, good evening. It's stop number 3 for Prime Minister Modi, and it seems like that event that's lined up at the sports stadium is already seeing tickets selling like hotcakes. It looks like the Prime Minister is quite a crowd puller when it comes to non-resident Indians.
That's right. Close to 20,000 people have already come in, and in all about 30,000 people are expected to gather here at the Sultan Qaboos Sports Complex. I'm sorry that we're not inside right now. It's just due to technical issues that we're sitting out, but it is a carnival inside. There are dance performances going on, singing performances. There is food being served. It's almost like a party, a huge party in the sports stadium that is happening inside. And every single person that I spoke to say that they have watched Prime Minister Modi speak on television. They have seen him interact with people from other countries, and now they're eagerly awaiting to see him face to face, hear him speak live and not on television. And the excitement is certainly in the air here. And this is his last stop, of course, the Prime Minister's last stop. At 4:45 local time, he landed at the airport, where he was given a ceremonial welcome as well as the Guard of Honor. He's gone to the residence of His Highness Sultan Qaboos, and from where he will be coming here at around 6 p.m. local time. That is around 20 minutes from now, and by around 6:30 he will start addressing the gathering. The event is expected to go on till well over 8 o'clock local time. So people here have prepared extensively. The entire stadium is filled. There are dais set up all across, and performances continuously going back to back. If you can hear the music behind me.
Absolutely, I really do hear that the music is loud, and I suppose like you're describing, the environment seems almost like a party. Stay with me, Nishchita. You of course have been reaching the destination that the Prime Minister has been headed to just a short while before him. Nishchita arrived in Muscat prior to the Prime Minister and managed to send us a quick report on what's happening in Muscat and what's going on in preparation for Prime Minister Modi's arrival. Take a look at this report.
Well, in the last leg of his three-nation tour, Prime Minister Narendra Modi is set to come to Oman, and people here are eagerly awaiting him. The WION team has reached the Sultan Qaboos Sports Complex in Muscat, and you can see it's Namo all around, right from the music that is playing to placards that say #NamoMan. And as we know, India and Oman have shared extremely warm relationship, and this is not a relationship that has lasted for a few years or for a few decades, or for that matter, even a few centuries. It is often said that India's and Oman's warmth dates back to the Indus Valley civilization as well, and that warmth can be seen even to this day. I have with me Mr. Manoj. He has been living in Oman for the last 32 years, and today he has come here wearing a t-shirt that says Namo Oman with Prime Minister Narendra Modi's image on his t-shirt. It has the flag of both Oman as well as India. Mr. Manoj, if you can first of all tell us, you introduced yourself as a Modi fan. So tell us why you called yourself that, and your t-shirt, did you get it made, custom made for yourself today?
Yeah, I mean, we have to understand that this is the one of the leader India has got after many years, who has made India's proud all over the world, and we are the testimony of that. And you will see it today, 30,000 people welcoming Namo in Oman. And if you look at the tagline what Oman has put, Namo Oman is a palindrome. You can see the backward also, it sounds the same. It's a Namo Oman, whichever way you see. And we truly feel proud that he has put India on the world map, which is truly remarkable. And it's a dream come true for the people in Oman today.
Right, and so Prime Minister Modi will be here till tomorrow. He has a very tight schedule. After addressing the crowd here, he will be meeting with the Sultan, personally interacting with him. Tomorrow he's visiting the Shiva temple, performing puja. They're also going to the Grand Mosque. Any particular thing that you want him to see in Muscat? You've been here for so long. Do you want him to visit any location, any particular event or something like that?
Yeah, he's most welcome to come to our house to eat dhokla and bhakri and thepla.
Okay, that's great. So, an open invitation for Prime Minister Narendra Modi there to come and eat dhokla, the food from his home state, Gujarat, despite him being overseas right here in Muscat in Oman. With video journalist Neeraj Patel, this is Nishtita for WION, Oman.
And these are live visuals coming from Muscat, where Prime Minister Narendra Modi has arrived for the last stop on his West Asia tour. You can see a lot of people have gathered there at the Sultan Qaboos Stadium in Muscat, the capital of Oman. Prime Minister Modi meeting and interacting with a number of people who've gathered there, lots of young children among those who've collected to see the Prime Minister today. My colleague Nishita was pointing out for us earlier that the stadium itself can house up to 30,000 people. 20,000 have already arrived at the stadium for Prime Minister Modi's address, which is going to take place shortly. There's going to be performances as well. Now, it's an interesting element of most of Mr. Modi's visits overseas. He does make it a point to interact with the diaspora, with the Indian diaspora, with the NRI community wherever he goes. He did so in Dubai, and he's doing the same now that he is in Muscat. He's going to be addressing the Indian community in a short while from now. This is a huge diaspora event. It's been organized at the Sultan Qaboos Sports Stadium in Muscat. Mr. Modi is in Oman till tomorrow before he heads back to India. But he'll be at a Shiva temple tomorrow as well. He'll be taking part in the prayer ceremony over there tomorrow. But for now, he has just arrived in Muscat. He received a ceremonial welcome at the airport itself. He is now all set to meet with the Indian diaspora. Visuals on your screen, live ones right now coming in from Muscat. The relationship between Oman and India dates back thousands of years. It is all set to receive a fillip from the Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi's visit to the Sultanate of Oman, which begins today. He's already arrived. And it seems like the Indian community is thrilled to receive their Prime Minister in Oman. Lots of arrangements and preparations have been underway in the Sultanate over the last few days in preparation for Prime Minister Modi's arrival. Right, so live visuals there on your screen, on your screen from Prime Minister Modi's arrival at the Sultan Qaboos Sports Stadium in the Omani capital of Muscat. Let's go back to my colleague Nishita Virendra, who is joining us on the broadcast from right outside the sports complex. In fact, Nishita, what exactly, in addition to today's interaction with and the address to the Indian diaspora, what's lined up on Mr. Modi's agenda while he's in the Sultanate?
Well, soon after he arrived at the airport, he has gone to the residence of the Sultan Qaboos bin Said, and after his address here too, he will be heading back to his residence. We understand that there will be a one-on-one conversation. They will try to explore other areas where India and Oman can build cooperation, and they will also be discussing the situation in West Asia as well as South Asia, particularly in the Gulf region, and the area that they need to be worried about and in what manner they can counter it together, as they have been for a long time now, whether it is the anti-piracy operations or whether it is exchanging intelligence information. Oman and India have been fairly tight-knit on that front. So there will be conversation between the two leaders is what is expected. But once he heads back from the Sultan Qaboos Stadium, he will be given a banquet reception that has been organized in his honor, similar to the one that we saw in UAE, after which Prime Minister Modi will retire to the hotel, the Grand Hyatt Hotel, where he is staying, following which it is only the next day's program, which includes, as you mentioned, Aisha, he will be going to the 250-year-old Shiva temple. Unlike in the UAE, where it is a celebratory atmosphere because of the first temple in Abu Dhabi, Oman is a country that has had Hindu temples since the 1700s, and which is why the Indian diaspora here have only been growing in numbers, especially the Hindus, since they have the freedom of doing the puja and rituals of their choice. So the Prime Minister will be going to this 250-year-old Shiva temple. He will also be visiting the Grand Mosque, after which there will be again discussions held with the Sultan Qaboos bin Said, and the Prime Minister will return to India following that.
All right, stay with me, Nishita. Thanks for that update on the Prime Minister's agenda while he is in Oman. Nishita right now is outside of the complex, but she did venture in to the sports stadium to gauge, really speaking, the mood inside ahead of Prime Minister Modi's address. Let's take a look at her report.
Well, the excitement at the Sultan Qaboos Sports Complex in Muscat in Oman is certainly palpable. The celebrations have begun. People have dressed up, have started performing to different Indian songs. There are, in fact, dance representations from different states as well. In all, nearly 37 troops are performing, and now the Telangana dance is going on. The entire stadium is almost full, and in all, around 25,000 people are expected to come in to hear Prime Minister Narendra Modi speak. I have with me some young Indians from Muscat who have just finished their performances. Namaste to you too. So tell us, what did you perform?
We performed Bollywood freestyle, and we performed on 3 songs, which was India Wale, Rang De Basanti, and Slow
The Prime Minister Narendra Modi is coming for the first time to Muscat. How does it feel for you?
It's really unique. It's his first time here, and we're very excited.
So let's talk to a few of the other performers here. So what are you dressed up as? Are you done with your performance? What did you perform?
Actually, we are representing Uttaranchal Wing, Indian Social Club over here, and we presented a dance form, our Gadwali and Kumani song, and I hope we rock the floor. This dance form is representing the culture and the liveliness and the youth of Uttarakhand. I hope we have conveyed this message. I hope the people loved our performance.
That's great, I'm sure.
Yeah, we are just eagerly waiting for Mr. Modi to arrive. We are so excited to finally see him in person. We have always heard him in news and everything, but first time we'll see him live. So we are very excited.
So we are very excited.
So Prime Minister, the last time he came to the Gulf, which was to Dubai back in 2015, 55,000 people attended his speech, and it was like a rock star atmosphere. So here, how is it going to be when the Prime Minister comes?
See, the stadium is already full, and expected crowd is 30,000 people. So maybe 20,000 people is already here.
Just wait for
few minutes.
You will see all the roads will get blocked. Means we will give him a swag se karenge swagat. We will do the swag swagat for Mr. Modi.
Swag se karenge swagat for Mr. Modi. Well, the Indians in Muscat are certainly a thrilled lot that the Prime Minister has arrived and that he will be addressing them, and they will get to see him face to face for the first time. In Muscat with video journalist Neeraj Pachel, Nishchita, WION.
Right, so definitely a lot of excitement in the air ahead of Prime Minister Narendra Modi's address to the Indian diaspora, which is going to take place a short while from now at the Sultan Qaboos Sports Stadium. We're given to understand that the very box from which the Prime Minister is going to make that address is only reserved for the Sultan himself. So a special, let's say, privilege being accorded to the Indian Prime Minister as he makes that address to the Indian community. Nishchita continues to be with us on the broadcast. Another interesting fact, Nishchita, is of course that Sultan Qaboos himself has studied in India. He was a student in Pune, and his father had studied at the prestigious Mayo College in the city of Ajmer. So the connect between India and Oman, really speaking, dating back to many, many years, and that personal connect is also, I suppose, extremely important to note while we're understanding Prime Minister Modi's visit to the Sultanate, the first time that he's doing so.
Absolutely. The people here acknowledge that, the diplomats here, the Indian diplomats here acknowledge the fact that there is a special place for India that the Sultan Qaboos bin Said has because he has spent some time in India, and he looks back at his time in Pune very fondly. His father studied in Ajmer in Rajasthan as well, and his father, His Majesty, also had visited India for a considerable duration of time. So the relationship has only grown stronger over the years. If we can draw comparison to the UAE leg of the visit, then this is that was the Prime Minister's second visit in 3 years, but it was the first time in 34 years that an Indian Prime Minister had visited the UAE in 2015. But that's not the case when it comes to Oman. Most Prime Ministers have visited Oman. The previous Prime Minister Manmohan Singh had also visited Oman in 2008, but after 2008 and 9 years, almost 10 years, this is the first time that Prime Minister from India has visited. So it seems like for a really long time the Indian diaspora here was waiting for a representative from the country to come here to speak to the ruler of Oman, and that's finally happening, and they are a happy lot, and they very well acknowledge the warmth that they get here because of the fact that they're Indians.
Absolutely, and as you were going to be visiting a centuries-old Shiva temple in the capital, Muscat. That's going to take place tomorrow. That is part of Prime Minister Modi's agenda while he is in the Sultanate of Oman. Nishchita pointing out for us, of course, the warm relationship between the two countries, and of course the personal connect that the ruling Sultan Qaboos himself has with India. He did spend a certain amount of time growing up in the city of Pune in the state of Maharashtra. Let's quickly go across to Nishchita once more on the temple itself. Nishchita, you know, the fact that the UAE is building that temple complex for the Indian community has really received a lot of attention. But the fact that there is a centuries-old temple in Oman itself, I suppose it speaks volumes of the kind of tolerance that is prevalent in the Sultanate of Oman, and perhaps one of the reasons why Indians flock to the Sultanate looking for better business opportunities and, of course, for opportunities to live and work in Oman.
That's right. Indians have been receiving a lot of respect from the administration here for several years now. Mr. Kimji is a very popular name here, and his entire family Mr. Kimji in fact became the first Hindu man who was given the designation of a sheikh, and his entire family now consider themselves as Omani citizens. They dress up like the locals here, and they're actually natives of Gujarat in India. They're Hindus, but they call themselves sheikh. That's how deep the relationship between the two countries run. And out of the 45 lakh people here, the population is just about 45 lakh. The country in all is just a little somewhere around the size of Maharashtra. And out of the 45 lakh, 8 lakh people here are Indians. So it goes on to show the fact that Indians have always felt comfortable when it comes to Oman, whether it is the business opportunities, whether it is the fact that there is ease of doing business here with the administration, the kind of respect they get because they are Indians. Just reminding yesterday what the Crown Prince of Abu Dhabi said, he acknowledged repeatedly in his conversation with the Prime Minister that they understand the contribution that Indians have had to nation building when it comes to UAE, and that Indians are a very trusted lot in the country, and similar is the case with Oman. If not more, the attitude towards Indians is extremely warm and trustworthy here.
All right, so clearly a two-way street as far as that warmth goes. We leave it at that for now, Nishita. Thanks so much for bringing us those updates from Muscat. We're going to take a quick break here on the broadcast on that note. But when we come back, we'll have more news and updates for you. And of course, we'll be going across to Muscat to get more updates from the Prime Minister's visit. Thanks for joining us.